Hello, before we begin today's video, can you please like, share, and subscribe to the channel because it actually helps expand the wonderful knowledge of NY and JPA weather and helps yours truly. So I really would appreciate it. So thank you, and as always, stay safe out there. Now let's get to today's video. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Premium Public Video Discussion. Now, I wasn't expecting to do this one a couple of days ago. I figured Christmas, nice and quiet, no video needed. But boy, things have changed. And I was suspicious of the time period between December 26th and December 30th for quite some time. And it looks like that panned out. So, Boxer Day Snowstorm Part 2. What is evolving here? Well, we're going to have a clash of warm air. We're going to have an environment of Arctic air invading ahead of that warm air, stretching in the atmosphere, jet dynamics, and also different climate factors all evolving at the same time. This is going to be a very interesting storm, a tricky one at that, and one where the bust potential in some areas is high, depending on how this storm evolves. So let's look at all of the factors. So first of all, right now it is quiet. We have a cold front that's approaching. We have a few isolated showers around the region, but notice the southwesterly winds ahead of the cold front that's going to be dropping through this afternoon and evening. Temperatures right now are ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior. Up in the Catskills, you're still in the upper 20s. Mid to upper 30s in your suburbs, and on the immediate coast, lower to mid 40s. So warm air has surged in. Where is this Arctic air? It's on the way. When we take a look at our WeatherTap radar and surface map, we pull that up here, and let me take off the overlay for the clouds real fast. And you can see here's our cold front getting ready to drop in. And right now we have a trough that's swinging through, producing some light snow over towards New England. A lot of this is not reaching the ground around Connecticut. And we have another low pressure system that's going to be passing to our south. So all this is going to be dropping through. And behind this cold front is some very cold air, true Arctic air. In fact, by tomorrow morning, many locations will be in the single digits to lower teens over the northern interior, mid to upper teens in your suburbs, lower 20s in your urban areas and on the immediate coast. But more importantly, the dew points will be in the single digits and teens. So, we're going to be dealing with cold, dry, pure Arctic air driving into the region. And that's going to set up a very interesting dynamic via all these lifting parameters that can create a lot of havoc with the Malgine. So you have something like the NAM Malgines that is too strong with the warm nose. You have some Malgines that's too cold because it overdoes the Arctic air. So you kind of have to, you can't just look at a model. You have to kind of piece together the whole forecast here and kind of lean in on your experience and how this pattern evolves. Now, when we take a look at the infrared satellite picture, it doesn't look like a major storm, right? This is not going to be your traditional nor'easter where you get a pivot and all that stuff. No. This is going to be far more complicated. It's still a Clipper situation. It's still a Clipper coming in, but with a little bit of a twist. So, where do we first see our twist? Take a look at what's happening here on the water vapor satellite picture. And we'll go right here. You see this feature right here, diving in, all right, this whole setup here. This sets up our upper level low around the Canadian Maritimes. And when that Canadian Maritime upper level low intensifies, it leads to a lot of convergence and confluence here, which means high pressure to the north, which is something that hasn't exactly been the strongest feature over the past couple of storms. You had warm air surging in, but no real mechanism aside from the developing low pressure system to keep cold air locked in. You really depended on the position of the low pressure system the past couple of storms, which for some people has worked out favorably and other people have changed over to rain pretty quickly. This time you have high pressure to the north, right around here. That is going to be awfully strong, around 1034 millibars, which is very important because that's going to set up your northeasterly wind ahead of this whole setup. So you have that evolving. Here is your disturbance back here, right? So here's your Clipper getting ready to
drop into this confluent pattern. And you can see that here on the upper level winds. Okay, here's our upper level low starting to form. Here is your one feature here of convergence confluence. But keep an eye on how this disturbance here drops in. And this is where we go to our first model solution. We're going to use the European. You could also use the GFS. They're pretty much in the same ballpark in terms of the upper level dynamics. And this is called jet stream dynamics and how to use it in forecasting. So here is our upper level load that I was talking about. And this is at roughly 300 millibars. So you could do 250 or 350 or 300. And you could see this all setting up. And you see this signal right here. See how the wind's kind of coming in, right? This is called convergence. And this leads to a strong high pressure system setting up here. So you have that jet streak here with this axis right here. Okay, so this area enhances high pressure right here. So you have strong high pressure throughout this event setting up to the north of this whole event. Now we have our next jet streak. This jet streak here leads to divergence in diffluence up here. But notice the direction of the winds. Everything is streaming this way from northwest to southeast. So what you're getting here is a setup here where you have your surface low pressure system with your clipper dropping here. And it's not overly strong, but the whole combination of all these features sets up a strong environment. Okay, so you have this feature and it's going to jump here because this is where you have the best ascent, rising air, right? So with this environment setting up, with this rising air here, what that leads to is a stretching motion over the atmosphere here. So think of it like taffy, and you have one low pressure system here and another one developing here. You have stronger upper level dynamics here, rising air, and that forces the shift of our surface low. Right? So initially you go from northeast winds at the surface, east winds, there's your warm push, right? Then northeast winds, driving cold air back in, right? And while that's all happening, you're having rising motion in the atmosphere. So you're having all these competing features happening at the same time. And all this lifting leads to a lot of stretching, which is a huge sign here of a very strong banding feature. And when you have a strong banding feature, you end up with areas of very heavy snow and then snow and sleet. And that is going to be a key factor in the forecast here. The question is, where does that band set up? Models have different positions of where that band sets up. And in this environment, each one of them makes a valid point. So you have to make adjustments and give yourself a range in order to make that forecast. So that's just the jet stream dynamics here in this setup here. And then you got the 500 millibar PVA here, okay? Now this is at one level, okay? So we're just looking at one level in the atmosphere. And again, you see this setup here. You see how this is not strong. This sets up your high pressure system. This feature is diving in. So again, keep this weak because this is not a strong short wave. So you don't want to have too strong of a warm push. You want to represent that warm push as this feature is coming in, but you don't want to overemphasize the warm air transport because of the cold air transport happening at the same time. So you're going to end up with these tight gradients, but you want to stay away from anything that's too strong here. And then you drop this through, and you can see where the strongest divergence and diffluence here at 500 millibars, right? This whole thing's diving in. Next, and this is the feature where it gets really interesting. We're going to pull up 700 millibar omega. Now, what this is, this map tells me where your rising motion is. And when I looked at various models for this solution, they basically zone in on the same area. The only difference in the model guidance is the structure, the thermal structure of the atmosphere. All the lifting parameters are pretty much falling into place except for the NAM, which had a brain fart. So you just kind of throw that out. But when I looked at all the other mesoscale models, the RFS, the HRR, you can even use the NJM if you want. They all are pretty much in the same ballpark. So I'm just going to throw the NAM out right now. Now, this is again, this is European, and this is the 700 millibar. You can also use the GFS. They're both about the same thing. And again, you have the same block here. Here's your upper level low. Here's your convergence confluence, setting up your surface high, driving your cold air south. You see this? This is the representation of rapidly rising air. And you see it throughout eastern Pennsylvania, and you see it diving in towards the coastal water. So again, this is a 6-hour time period. So what you really want to do is take this and just kind of drop it right off the coast between the 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. and 1 a.m. hour. It just dropped through. So what this tells me is that there's going to be very intense lifting taking place here during this time period from 8 p.m. to roughly 2 a.m., right? As this is dropping through. And then it just kind of lingers as the cold air bleeds in, right? So you have all this lifting. If you have rising motion, you're cooling the atmosphere because it's a cooling product. But also, while you're having rising air, you also have sinking air because there has to be a counterbalance. So you have to take all these factors into place. And then you also add in the lower level dynamics. Now, I want to show you a couple other things here. This is 850 millibar vorticity here. And again, what I want to show you is the stretching nature here. You see how the model guides are trying to show us, and it showed up the same thing on the HRR, the GFS, and all the other model guidance. Okay, you can see this stretching here taking place here. Okay, so I am seeing with this surface low. As this one transfers towards the coast, you get this inverted trough. It's still a clipper, but this throws in that added twist because of the jet streak dynamic. So you kind of get a mixture of these two types of storm types. And while you're getting that stretching, you're also going to have rising air, which is going to enhance your snow ratio, and it's going to help to enhance your snowfall, more so than some of the model guidance is picking up. Finally, I want to show one other feature, and this really caught my eye. Where are you? Precipitable water values. Here we are. And I want to jump to this. Now, again, I don't take this verbatim, but when I see this signal here showing up like this, and I see another signal here, what this is telling me is that there's going to be one very impressive band. And where that band sets up, 10, maybe even 12 inches of snow is going to be possible. That band could set up here, here, anywhere in this area. You have to open up anywhere in this area, not just follow this model and say, okay, here, therefore copy paste. Because this whole environment here is all under that jet streak influence. So you can easily line this up more down here with the thermal gradient, which would kind of make more sense. And that would lead to a very intense band. So you could easily do it to the north of New York City, through Long Island, through New York City, into central New Jersey, and into northeastern Pennsylvania. So you have to account for that. And then anywhere to the south and to the north of this band, you're going to have sinking air. So lighter snow here. And somewhere in here, you're going to have more sleet than snow. Okay? So you have to make that adjustment. Further south, you have a lot of warm air invading, so it's going to be mixing with rain and sleet. Very concerned about southeastern Pennsylvania here for that low-level cold air. You have a dip in the topography here, right, with all the valleys, and some of that low Arctic air could get trapped in here. So you could end up with, let's say, 33 and rain on New Jersey shore, but right in here and all throughout here, you could be at 32, 31 with rain. See what I'm saying? So hopefully I'm wrong and it's 33 and rain, but it is too close to call being 32 and rain and 31 and rain. Very too close. So I'm going to lean colder on that so that way everyone's protected from that setup. So that's where we are. And then in terms of our temperatures, here's another sign here. Okay. Here's our thermal gradient ahead of this storm. Okay. Your pure Arctic air is up here. You have your gradient set up here, marginal cold air here. So this is up here. You got a high ratio snow setup. Down here, very marginal, 10 to 1, 8 to 1. Then, boom, you start to see this drop. And then here we are in the evening when all the jet dynamics set up. What causes this? All that rising air. Okay? So again, you don't want to take this verbatim, but look at what the overall theme here. The theme here is rapidly rising air, stretching atmosphere, everything evolving. You're going to end up with a lot of these bands. which leads to all sorts of chaos. So if you're looking for everything to be 100%, ain't gonna happen, okay? But if you prepare for all the different factors, you'll be good. That's why a meteorologist never tries to be perfect. Just try to be good and give everyone a fair warning. So this sign here tells me, hey, there's a lot of rising air here, a lot of cooling going on while this event is happening here. And so that's why you're seeing this colder signal here. It's not anything shifting, it's just the nature of the jet dynamics involved in here. And you can see that also at 9 to 25 millibars as well. Now, with this setup, you're going to have that easterly wind that's going to throw in that sleet potential. So that's one of the factors that you have to account for, that model guidance is going to do very well. I used some buff kit data, which is kind of old school, and it kind of showed me some interesting signals here, a little bit more sleet than freezing rain. It's very, very hit and miss in this environment. So first of all, let's just look at the mesoscale guidance. You can use the HRR. I'm staying away from the NAM. It just is the 850 millibar low is overproduced. Looks like convective feedback error, so I'm not even going to bother. The HRR is maybe a little bit touch too cold, but I like the overall theme. And the European guidance here, let me just march us through. You can see this is the 06Z, kind of showing that idea. Now look where it's having. The 12Z is up, the 0Z was up here. Now the 06Z is down here over New York City and dropping it through Long Island. And you see central New Jersey stays a little bit colder, but you still got some sleet and some other considerations, and then everything changes back over to snow as this drops through. So by noon, everyone's done, okay? Just watch out for a few flurries. The main event is primarily going to be from 6 p.m. through 4 a.m., and then everything tapers off after that. So that's what we're seeing in this environment. Let me pull up, and I'm going to introduce the impact map here. How this is all played out. Now, this is for premium members, okay? So this is what they get. You also have the other impact map here. Let me pull that in here real fast. Where are you? There you are, down here. Of course, I probably should have done this before the video started, but it's okay. So this is the public impact map. You can see all the different zones here, okay? So premium impact map, if you subscribe as a premium member, you can zoom right in on this, right down to your hometown and get exactly what I'm expecting here. Just click on that, boom. So if you want to jump on that, definitely you are more than welcome to. Here is the overall themes here on the public. Again, so this is all set up to deal with those lifting dynamics. Now in zone 1, someone is going to get 10 inches, but whoever gets that 10 inches to the north and south of that 10 inches, or possibly even a little more if this band really, really gets ratcheted up, is going to get more sleet. So if you get a lot more sleet, 6 inches. So let's say down here in central Pennsylvania, more likely to 6 inches. But if that band is further south, guess what? You're going to go over that 6 inches and head towards 10 inches. The other factor here is that as the snow starts, it'll be dry. As the warm air works in, the snow ratio will fall from 15 to 1 down to 10 to 1 as the warm air tries to push in, and then bump up to 12 to 1 as the cold air rushes back towards the end of this event. So again, very volatile, okay? So here in zone 1, 6 to 10 inches, snow and sleet. The more sleet you get, the closer to 6 inches. The more snow you get, the closer you are to 10 inches. In zone 2, that's up here in Connecticut and eastern and Long Island. The heaviest lifting is going to be to your west, I think. So again, 3 to 6 inches of snow in this scenario. If that band gets a little bit further east, then yeah, you can definitely push over that 6 inch mark, but I'm thinking 3 to 6 inches with substance in this area as the precipitation exits, but still pretty good snowfall. Zone 3, that's this one right here. That includes the Jersey Shore, down through much of central coastal New Jersey, back through Philadelphia. This again is snow to sleet, maybe a little bit of rain mixed in at times, a little bit more wintry mix, 3 to 6 inches. Again, Watch out for some freezing rain in this scenario. But again, the more snow you get, the higher your 6 inches. The more sleet you get, the closer you are to 3 inches. Zone 4, I'm very concerned about this. I know it's not a lot of snow, 1 to 4 inches of snow, but I'm very concerned about the sleet and freezing rain aspect here, where the ice could really add up. Again, the more snow you get, the more likely towards 4 inches. The more ice you get, unfortunately, you may only get an inch of snow, but just a skating ring. So just be careful out here. I don't think that's being handled well by some of the model guides, and it has me concerned here. So watch this area very carefully. Then zone 5 down here, that's where you go snow to rain. A trace to 2 inches. Again, the more snow you see on the back end of this, the more you can get at 1 or 2 inches. But this is really not going to be your event down here in Cape May in southern New Jersey and the Delmarva Peninsula. So I like the idea of a trace to 2 inches, mostly on cold surfaces. Not a big deal. The main event's going to be up here. Philadelphia, a moderate to major snow event, depending on the amount of mixing. Major snow event for New York City and northeastern Pennsylvania based on those jet dynamics. Zone 6, this is where you just have some scattered snow showers, peripherally stuff, 1 to 3 inches. And that 3 inches mostly because how cold it is. The snow ratio is going to be so high, 20 to 1 out here. You're not going to need much to get up to that 1, 2, 3 inch range. Okay, so again, scattered snow showers up here. So that is how I see this storm play out. Very complicated. It's going to be fun. It's also going to be a bit dangerous, so use caution when traveling. And of course, I'll have live coverage on this whole event starting tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll put out the notices, all that stuff, and that will be on the way. Now, as far as the forecast overall, again, for today, the cold front drops through. Our high temperatures are happening earlier on in the day, looking at upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s along the coast. Then this evening, temperatures free fall as the cold front clears and high pressure, again, 1034 millibar high pressure system building south, nice cade feature setting up with clear skies, low temperatures in the single digits to lower teens over the northern interior, mid to upper teens along in their suburbs, upper teens to lower 20s in your urban areas. For tomorrow afternoon, clouds increase, snow showers begin to develop after 4 p.m. Look for high temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 20s over the northern interior and the New York City metro, upper 20s to lower 30s in the Philadelphia metro, lower to mid 30s on the southern New Jersey coast. Precipitation drives through, very heavy at times, as we go to Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday morning, everything starts to clear out from northwest to southeast with basically everything done between 10 a.m. and noon. Look for low temperatures on Saturday to range from the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast. High temperatures with clearing skies will range from the upper 20s to lower 30s throughout the region. Then on Saturday night into Sunday, high pressure will be in control with light and variable winds. Low temperatures will range from the mid to upper teens over the northern interior and suburbs, lower to mid 20s in your urban areas. Watch out for that snowpack. That's going to be something to consider. Then Sunday afternoon, a warm front approaches. Watch out for a little bit of freezing drizzle as the warm air is invading, but everything will change over to showers. Look for high temperatures on Sunday afternoon ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s in the Delaware River Valley, and upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. By the time we get to Sunday night into Monday morning, plenty of warm air will drive through as our warm front lifts northward with scattered showers around the area. Look for low temperatures in the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. And on Monday afternoon, the cold front will swing through with scattered showers, much warmer air. Wouldn't be surprised there's a little fog in here as well. Look for mid to upper 40s over the northern interior, lower to mid 50s along the immediate coast and along the I-95 corridor. Then, Monday night into Tuesday, cold air rushes in with scattered snow showers. Look for low temperatures crashing again into the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast. Tuesday afternoon, scattered clouds with a few flurries. Look for high temperatures in the mid to upper 20s over the northern interior, lower to mid 30s along the coast. Then Wednesday, New Year's Eve, watch this clipper here. A little concerned about it. For right now, scattered cloud cover. Look for low temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast, high temperatures in the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s in the Delaware River Valley, upper 30s to lower 40s along the immediate coast. And again, we're going to have to watch this clipper and see whether we see more redevelopment down here. This one right here is what I'm concerned about, okay? We're going to have to watch this clipper. The first one comes through. I think it's a little bit too far north, so watch out for a few flares on this one. This one on New Year's Day, we have a strong block in place here. I am rather curious to see if this ends up further south. So just something to keep in mind on. For right now, scattered rain, snow showers. Look for low temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. So New Year's Eve night should be pretty dry, just a few passing snow flurries, but it's definitely going to be chilly with temperatures in the 20s. High temperatures on New Year's Day will range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid 30s along the coast. Again, this could end up further south, which would lead to a more interesting setup. So we'll keep an eye on that. Once again, Clipper Mayhem takes hold. That is your forecast discussion for today. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I will be back later to set up the live coverage for tomorrow. We'll be here at 4 p.m. and it's going to be interesting. In the meantime, stay safe out there.
Thank you for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. But if you want to help the channel out even more, and myself, of course, you might want to check out Premium Consulting Membership, which provides amazing content and information that you get beyond the daily video that you see Monday through Friday. So what do you get? Well, you get updates every day in the Premium dashboard, starting with, of course, checking out the latest winter forecasts or other seasonal forecasts throughout the year, live coverage room where you can ask me questions live and I respond usually within a few minutes. Also, the latest holiday updates, how the weather will impact that upcoming holiday. If you are into landscaping or you work in landscaping, should I say, you will get the latest details on whether or not rainfall will be a threat and impact your job. And of course, there is all the other content. The zoomed in impact map, the severe threat analysis, long range thoughts, the premium consulting video, and also energy analysis, seasonal analysis, additional analysis when the storms get really tricky, winter storm overviews, and when the tropics gets really active, all of the updates, including the individual storms and the overview as well. And if you're a business owner, we also have a specific impact forecast for you guys as well, your own weather map. So let's take a look at the prices. Pretty fair. $15 a month gets you all this information. If you're looking for a little bit of a discount, you can also have a yearly at $150 and quarterly at $60. And also, for all of you business owners out there, you have the ability to get your own web page, your own consulting analysis based on what you need every day in the morning, updated Monday through Sunday without any delay. And of course, you can call me up as well and have that one-on-one consultation. So all this and more at NY and JPA Weather. Thank you as always for being a subscriber and watching the videos. But if you're looking for a little bit more, this would definitely be one of the ways to do so. So in the meantime, stay safe out there.